West Virginia tips off in a couple hours. Can they avoid a slow start versus a Campbell team that really pushed Wisconsin, who was ranked?
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby. But we're talking about the Mountaineers on the basketball side this afternoon and evening, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. This will be a quicker episode. We won't be going to full 30 on this one. And because we're going to be doing another live at 5 p.m. with Locked On Buffs host Kevin Borba, who just knows everything there's to know about Colorado. So we've got a couple things going on tonight. So just roll from one show right into the other with me, and let's do this for a little while for the next hour or so. So, okay. Before we get started, guys, we got to acknowledge the channel sponsor as always, and why wouldn't we? And look, guys, I appreciate all the support, by the way. You guys have sent me, I got so many messages I still haven't got back to. I will try to answer you all in due time for those of you that have messaged me recently. I didn't realize there were so many messages. So I'm trying to get through them all. There's hundreds and hundreds of messages, man. So it's like really hard for me to get to them all. But this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now with FanDuel, your new customers can bet just $5. That'll make you holla. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today to get started. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. We're going to be talking about the game keys in this game. Obviously, what is it going to take for West Virginia to win this game versus a pesky Campbell team? And how can West Virginia avoid a slow start? We're also going to be looking at the Campbell squad and what kind of players do they have at their disposal? Can they cause West Virginia any issues today? I watched the Campbell-Wisconsin game. Campbell was in that game all the way until late in that game, guys. Probably midway through the second half is when Wisconsin started to separate, and they separated. It's a lot like our game the other night. If you look at the end of the score, it looks like it was a blowout, West Virginia. You won by 20-something, almost 30 points, and nothing to see here against a lesser team. Campbell hung – it was a really close game at halftime. They've got dynamic scorers, guys. They've got a really good guard in DJ Smith. He had 23 points against Wisconsin. I was very impressed with him. He led the game off with a steal and really kind of set the tone right away on the road against a ranked Wisconsin team that is a good team. I watched them. They've got DJ Black. They've got all these really good players. And I was impressed with Campbell throughout the game, even though they came up a little short in college basketball, mid-major teams a lot of times are just as talented as the Power Four teams for the starting five. But then once you get into the bench and stuff, that's a lot of times where it'll kind of separate. In this game, it was very much like that. The guys that Campbell's rolling with to really kind of count to get them through, they're good, the starters especially. And so I will go ahead and have you meet them, starting with their best player, at least against Wisconsin, and DJ Smith. And DJ Smith is a graduate student. He transferred from Bowling Green. He played in Arkansas high school basketball. He's the kind of player that Ross Hodge would love, a smaller guard, probably 6 feet tall, 5'11", somewhere in there, but a great, great shooter. And plays great defense, as a matter of fact. And he had 23 points in this game, 4 rebounds, and an assist. He's a ball-dominant guard, and he can shoot it from anywhere on the court at any time. That's just a flat-out fact. Chris Fields Jr. is an interesting player, guys. He's 6'7", 240 pounds. He's coming in from Norfolk High School, or Norfolk State, I'm sorry. After, of course, it's Norfolk State, not Norfolk High School. It said on my screen, it says Norfolk State after a high school career. So I just read it wrong. He's pretty physical for a guy his size. He was really good as an all MEAC, all freshman team last year for them, where he averaged 8.4 points per game as a freshman last year. He had 13-5 against Wisconsin, and he was 6-9 from the inside. They've got a couple guys that can score it from the inside. Tasos Cook is not one of those guys. He is another one of their guards. He's transferred a few different times. He's been at JUCO. He's been at Westerville Central High School in Columbus, Ohio. But he was a Shelton State, a couple of places. He's been around, but he's a leader for them, and he's got some ball handling. He averaged right around 7 points per game in JUCO. In this game, he had 7 points, so that wasn't bad, and he definitely played tough ball for them at times. Munir Newton is a guy they really tried to get involved early in this game in the post against Wisconsin. They were doing a lot of they were doing a lot of ball screen. He would come down and try to seal off. They would try to get the ball inside to him. And Wisconsin definitely guarded this well for the most part, but they did attempt to do that, and he is a bigger presence. Maybe against West Virginia, they may have a little more success. Even though Newton's only 6'5", he's like a guy that can really post up smaller guards and stuff. He had 6 points in that game. This guy was impressive for me. Doidvis Butka is the name here. Maybe it's the wrong guy. Hold on, let me see. There's two guys with this name, I'm pretty sure. No, this is him. Okay, so he's 6'9", 215 pounds. He is a Lithuanian pro that came in, and it shows. It shows, man. Really high rebounding numbers at Lithuanian National Cup. And, he averaged 10 points a game in the Zalgiris youth reserves in 24. And now against Wisconsin, he had 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. Very positive performance. And he was all over the field. He's a big, hefty lefty. You're definitely going to know who he is and where he is on the floor. This is a guy that can really play, guys. I think, hell, I would have been happy for West Virginia to get this guy. He's actually that good. It just blows me away how these smaller schools have good players like this. Cam Gregory is a 6'5", 170-pound senior that transferred in from, I think he was playing in the NEC, St. Francis. He averaged 13.4 points per game last year. Last night, he had 3 rebounds, 4 assists, no points, and it was 0 for 5 from the field, but they're expecting him to be one of their better players this year. He played 27 minutes. Jeremiah Johnson, a 6'4", 180-pound sophomore, played last night, or not last night, but against Wisconsin the other day. He transferred in from Green Bay, so he's another Horizon League transfer. He averaged 10.5 points per game at Green Bay last year. He was in 24 minutes. He only had 3 points. He was 1 for 6, but man, was he a good defender in the game. I remember watching him quite a bit. From there, it kind of goes downhill. Not a whole lot of other players that did much in this game. There are other guys on the team. I'm not going to go over the entire team. The head coach is John Andrzejczyk. So he's a Bronx native. He's Puerto Rican. He's from Hamilton, New York, and he's the 6th head coach at Campbell. He was hired in March, and he inherited a 15-17 team. So he comes in as a grad. He's a Columbia grad. He began basketball while a student, where he kind of was also on the how they get these jobs, like where they're not being paid, but they're still coaching hoops a little bit here and there. I forget what they call that, but that's what he did. And then he finally got into D3, where he went from there to Johns Hopkins as the head coach from 2017 to 18, where he was 24-5. He had a Centennial title in the Ivy League there. And then he also was at Dartmouth as an assistant in 2018 and 19. He was at San Francisco in 2016, where they, went 20-13, and were the most improved via Ken Pom. He was an assistant at Washington State from 2019 to 2023 under Kyle Smith and in the SEC. He was a Florida assistant under Todd Golden, guys. who we all know had just an incredible 2025 national championship year. So this is Florida's one of their best assistants. And now he is ESPN's #1 youngest under 40 coach. So this is a big time coach, guys. Even though he doesn't have a whole lot of head coaching experience yet, he's looked at as a rising star in this. So don't be surprised if he doesn't flip this Campbell thing around and probably bounce on upwards from there. And even the way they're playing already, you've seen it versus Wisconsin. They were very competitive in that game. I can't imagine how hard it would be to build a competitive team that can play versus Power 4 opponents in this era of basketball, where you can't just grow a kid up for 3 or 4 years and hold on to him and all that, because you know the 1 year the sitting out for 1 year deterred pretty much everybody from transferring for years and years. And now we're in a situation where that's not the case. Let's go to break. We'll come back and we'll give some game keys and get out of here before we do the Locked On Buffaloes, Locked On West Virginia show here at 5 o'clock. We'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends at Supply House. Guys, Supply House is a pretty cool spot if you've never heard of it. And when the opening whistle blows on a new repair, you can get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep by tomorrow. Where over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business are waiting for you. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has actually next-day delivery, so you can talk about a game changer. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com today to sign up for free and use the promo code SHCOLLEGE5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. And we're back, Locked On West Virginia. It's segment 2. Of course, we're going to crack a Diet Dew, and why wouldn't we? Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Like I said, never gave you the link to Mine of Choice channel. I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay, so I don't have the channel fully set up yet. There's still a couple of things I need to do. I'm trying to figure out a graphic for the background like I have here, like how you guys can see the 3 little bullet points over here. I need a background for the channel. I need some stuff like this for the channel where I can move through screens and different things, because I'm going to have ads right off the bat probably, but I've got a few people interested in sponsoring the show. And then I told you guys, I've got somebody with several 100,000 followers. It's a friend of mine who wants to shout the show out. And I just want to have all my ducks in a row and know people where people can find it before I do all that. You know what I'm saying? So just give me some time, and I promise you guys, I'll give you the channel spot, the channel name, and all that. But I'm trying to get a really big jump start on it. You know what I mean? And somebody with 400,000 followers is going to be a pretty big help to that. But I'm going to need you guys to repost as well, because I mean, I don't know how his people are going to react. Maybe it won't get any subscribers. I don't know, but that feels like a pretty big profile to do that on. So we'll see. It's worth a shot, right? And we'll see if we can't get that thing jump started. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as quick as we can. That way we can monetize it and start making money for the channel, because we're trying to get Troy a second stream of income as well as myself, right? Because I think what I've realized with this gig here at Locked On is anything can happen, right? You could get sick. You could lose the job. They could want to move on to another venture. They could sell out. There's a multitude of things that can happen. So I think it's important for me and for others, to always think about that second stream of income, because something just can hit out of nowhere. You never know. So I don't ever want to be overly reliant on one thing. I just don't want to be that. So, and I'm not ever going to be again. That's just the facts. So, and I've needed to do this for a while. I've just needed to. It's just getting started on a new channel can be a headache, man. Trying to find, and it's like it's going to be a college show. It's going to be basketball and football, and it's really broad. And I'm going to have to, it's going to be a learning process for me to try to figure out what teams to cover, what to talk about every day, make sure I'm well studied on it so I don't sound like an idiot, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, I don't want to, obviously overdo it, I guess. But at the end of the day, let's jump back into the game keys here. I think this game is crucial to the growth of the team, for sure. I think it's crucial to the growth of definitely Trey Eaglestaff and Honor Huff. We'd like to see them take another step tonight. And we're not going to overreact off one game, obviously. Different things like that. So I'm excited about just where this thing is going with them. And I think they got a chance to be really good. And, it's nice to see us be able to win a game like we did the other day, when it's not going well. But we all know that's probably not going to be like that every night. And we're going to need them to play well and score a couple buckets apiece a night to at least, give us a shot, right? Because we got other guys that can score. Jasper can score. Chance Moore can definitely score when he comes back. Jackson Fields can clean stuff up. I think Amir can score a little bit whenever he gets comfortable. Gusick can shoot threes. So we got guys. I think it's just, Obi Oha should be able to score on most nights. We would hope so. So I want to make sure and that those two are coming along because it's just a new role for especially Trey. I think he can. I think he's talented enough too. It's just he's used to having his ball in his hands and making plays over and over again. And now that's not, now he's having to play within the framework of an offense. It's just, it's not an easy thing. So game keys for this game. Let's look at the stats against Wisconsin one more time. And for those of you that are just joining in, Campbell they really held in there with Wisconsin for a long time in this game. I think it was probably 10 or 12 minutes left with Wisconsin started to pull away. But, I mean, it was a close game at half. It was a close game for most of that second half, and then Wisconsin pulled away. So, anyways, overall stats, Campbell was 5 for 19 from three. Wisconsin made 11. We're probably going to want to do something similar. They shot 39% from three. That's really good. We'll take that. If we can do that, Wisconsin 17 and 19 from foul line. Hopefully we can achieve that. They were 13 to 17. So, yeah, they tied Wisconsin in rebounds, guys. Wisconsin's a big team. They had 9 offensive rebounds and 20 defensive rebounds. And so they actually beat Wisconsin in the defensive rebounds department. So just keep an eye on that. They out-rebounded Wisconsin on defense. So, what are we going to look like tonight? Can we out-rebound them with shorthanded like we are? Obviously, we know we don't have Jackson Fields, right, for this game, and we don't have even got somebody like Chance Moore who had 7 rebounds a game last year at St. Bonaventure. So I certainly believe that this team can do it. It's just I want to see it applied because it's going to be an important thing for them to be able to night in, night out, just compete on the boards. You don't have to win every night, but you can't get dominated either on the boards. So that's one key to the game. I think another key to the game is make your free throws, right? They're probably they fouled Wisconsin a lot. They're probably going to foul us a lot too. It's a home game, so we should be, favored by the whistle. Make your free throws, man. Don't please tell me we're not a bad free throw shooting team. We've got all these individual great shooters. It just doesn't mathematically. It shouldn't happen. So hopefully this team makes good free throws, and then just limit mistakes. I think limit mistakes and apply pressure. There's no as long as you don't get to a turnover fest with them, which we took care of the ball last game. In this game. I've seen them. They turned over Wisconsin quite a few times to the tune of, let's see. Yeah, so Wisconsin had 10 turnovers in the game. That's a little less than I thought it was, but I mean that's doable. You can survive with that. They had 19 turnovers. That's obviously a lot worse. And they committed 21 personal fouls. So, they're going to foul West Virginia. They're going to have to in most cases to hang with. But I want to see West Virginia get physical with them. I want to see them own them on the glass. I think our defense is going to be much more difficult for them to score against than Wisconsin's. But keep an eye on DJ Smith. He's very similar to Honor Huff in that he can just step back and shoot it from anywhere. He made some threes in that game versus Wisconsin, y'all, that was like, holy crap, man, this kid can really shoot it. So he's one of those guys that's got a quick release. He can make it from anywhere on the floor. So, so I would say that. And then when I say apply pressure, I just mean, just continuously press the pace, use their lack of a bench against them, at least in this game. Now, maybe in their conference, their bench is serviceable. But against us, you would think our bench versus their bench is major advantage us. So in this one, hopefully we can surge forward whenever our benches are both on the floor, and that'll be that. I think West Virginia is going to win this game in a similar fashion to Wisconsin. I would like to see West Virginia pull away in the first half, but it probably won't happen until the second half. And I think it'll be what was the score the other night? 96-64. So Wisconsin by 32 points. Yeah, I think West Virginia is probably not as good as Wisconsin, who's ranked, obviously. So, and it doesn't really matter anyways. You can't go by who another team beat. We've discussed that on the show before. Styles make fights, right? That's why you see teams beat, like we saw Iowa State lost to was it Houston, or I can't remember now. Point is just because we have a common opponent and you beat them and I lost to them doesn't make you better than me, because my left tackle may be able to block that at a pass rusher that they couldn't block that ruined the game, right? It's so many moving parts in sports that don't always tell the tale. All right, let's go to one more break, guys. We'll come right back, and then we'll talk about what's going to happen next here in just a few. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends, always our friends at FanDuel. Right now with FanDuel, guys, it's a pretty simple thing, as we like to say around here. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the part of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets, and you can bet on everything from who will score next or to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at making a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving customers new $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. But you can't win if you don't play. Head over to FanDuel.com today to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. We back. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining in once again. I seen somebody make a comment. Was it Burdette promoting another channel on Locked On's Dime? I'm allowed to. I saw somebody made that comment. Yeah, I'm actually allowed to. I mean, I can't sit here and talk about it for 20 minutes, but I'm allowed, as long as I'm, just brief, I can do that. They understand we have other things going on and they want to support us. So it's like, I think I've had a few people ask me about that. Is Locked On going to be okay with you having another show, like that kind of stuff? And as long as I'm not doing another West Virginia show that competes with this show, which would make no sense, right? Then that's fine. So that's why I'm doing a broad overall college basketball and football show, which is my passion anyways, and it'll be something I can continue to talk about. You want to hear something funny, though? It was this close to being a video games channel, because I love video games too, and I love playing games, and I think it's one of my best hobbies I love most. Obviously, it's not necessarily a healthy hobby, because you probably could be doing something more convenient or working out. But yeah, I love playing video games, and I would love to stream video games like that I like, which are nerdy games, RPG games, like Red Dead Redemption 2 is kind of like that, or Final Fantasy games, whatever. But it just takes too much time to do it. Like to stream video games, you got to stream for 8, 9, 10 hours at a time. It's just a lot. And you got to be able to really dedicate it to only that. So let's jump into the football game here, guys. We're going to be talking about that game preview with Locked On Buffalo's host, Kevin Borba. That's going to be in 9 minutes. Well, 14 minutes. So we'll be there. See you there. See you on the next one. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for all your support. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Raven, make sure you try to get everybody over to the next show if you can. If you can share the link maybe or something. I don't know if you can. And I will see you guys on the next one. Q Country Roads.